Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Where Sick Gets Real. I'm your host, Wes Ballinger with Canine Justice Dog Training. And today we're going to jump into how Canine Justice came about, where we started, where I started as a trainer, and kind of where we plan on going. So I might be all over the place a little bit in this one, but I just wanted to share the story. Sometimes I share it with clients that come in and they're able to hear that. And I've noticed that it kind of piques some interest. But another reason I kind of want to talk about this is in hopes that somebody hears it and it motivates them. All right. So tell you a little bit about it. I started dog training in 2019. I was on a fugitive pursuit team for about 4 years and I got my canine Justice. I got him trained in narcotic odor detection and tracking and trailing. I did all the training myself. During that, we also worked on obedience and advanced obedience. He was a pretty solid dog. So that's where all this kind of came about and changed for me because during that time, I was doing two jobs. I was doing fugitive recovery and I was also a private security contractor for an armored car company, as well as doing dogs on the side a little bit. So, it's always been in the back of my mind when I was training with Justice. I would share little clips on social media and stuff just to kind of show off my dog, and I would get the comments, hey, you should train my dog, or hey, we need to bring such and such to you, and I always kind of brushed it off, and I was like, nah, more so because I didn't really have the experience to be putting my hands on somebody else's dog and trying to produce results for them. That was the first time I had ever trained a dog. Growing up, we had dogs, and they were simply that. But times have changed a lot back in those days. You had a dog, it'd run the neighborhood and play with its dog friends, and you would see it sometimes, and sometimes you wouldn't. Usually, when it was hungry, it would come back. Now, those days are long gone. But yeah, so during that time period, that's how I came about with Justice, and obviously that's who I named the business after. But during that time period, I had some traumatic events happen in my life, and I never took time to grieve or to process. I pretty much had the mentality of just give me more work and I'll work through it to where I don't have to think about it. And that is a big mistake. People, take care of your mental health. That's number one. That's most important, is that mental health. Take care of it because it will come back to get you one day. So whatever grieving and processing looks like to you, take the time to do that, because mine caught up with me and pretty much started shutting my nervous system down. My body went all out of whack. I started doing uncontrollable things. Um, it put me in the hospital a couple of times. Not a very good moment in my life, we'll say that. With that being said, I had to let go of both of the other jobs. I couldn't physically do them anymore. And I've never been the one to kind of back down. So I was like, what do we do now? And I remembered, hey, dog training. What about dog training? What if I could give people the same opportunity to have the bond that I have with my dog Justice? Because it was an undeniable bond. He looked at me and was like, I know you got me, so I got you. Whatever you need me to do, I got you. And he did that. He listened very well because I implemented leadership and structure, and we had clear communications, and I was fair with him. I understood that he was a dog and he didn't need all the glamorous things in life that he was just going to destroy because of dog genetics and, things of that nature. So, anyway, I started thinking about that, and I took a couple of little online classes and watched a whole lot of YouTube and kind of, started messing around with family members' dogs. And then I had people ask me, and I was like, okay, well, let's do this. So I was charging, 30, 35 bucks for dog training in people's driveways just to get hands-on experience, but to also, have a little extra money because funds were running out. When you're not working, they run out pretty quick when you got a family relying on you. Makes you really get up and do something. So little did anybody know, the money that I was making really went to gas to get to the next dog so that I could train it and make a little more money. I had about 500 or 600 bucks left, and I knew that I could do more. I had a dream and a goal, and I was like, there's dogs out here that need us, and there's people out here that need us even more because they're struggling. They're struggling with their dogs. A lot of dogs are ending up in shelters or rehomed because people just don't understand the dynamics that go into a dog. So I started taking a lot of classes. I think now I've got somewhere around 20 something certificates and different avenues of dog training. I wanted to make sure that if I got into it, that I went all the way in and I had tools in my toolbox to pull out when I came across that dog I didn't know what to do. I never wanted to run across that opportunity of I don't know what to do here. So that's kind of where that came into play. After I did all that and got the hands-on experience as well as the classes, I knew I could provide more. So with that $500-600, I was like, I need a storefront. I need something, and I was looking for something small, right? Something just to where clients could come in and meet me face to face. We can maybe do some one-on-ones right there. At this time, I wasn't even thinking about a board and train or anything of that nature. It was all like private one-on-one sessions. Me, the client, the dog, and I was looking around, and everything was obviously completely out of my price range and my budget, because my budget, you can't even pay a car payment with that, let alone a building. And I knew that. So looking for a building, and I find one that I think it might work. It wasn't the best building, and it is where we are now. It had been sitting for quite some time. The inside was absolutely filthy, and it didn't look the best. So I talked with the guy, and obviously, it was more than I could, not that I was willing to pay, but more than I could afford at that time. I just needed somebody that would give me a chance and an opportunity to get in somewhere. And I knew with the goal I had in mind that I would make it happen. I wouldn't worry about the month's rent coming up, because we would be good. That's just my mentality, always has been that way, making something out of nothing. So anyway, I talked to the guy. It's a little more than I thought it would be, and I didn't want to haggle him. It's not, his fault. I don't have the money. So we part ways, and I let the building sit for a few months, and I call him back and talk with him, and pretty much asked that if I could move in with what money I had, would he be willing to let me fix it up and get it looking right again, presentable anyway. I go into the next month paying the full amount of rent, and he agreed to that. So I got some friends and family to give me like scrap paint or paint brushes or wood or whatever, spare paint. I came in, and for a couple of months. No. I take that back. It wasn't a couple months, because I was on a time limit. It was right at a month. I came in here and I worked my tail off. I remember being in the middle of the summer, no AC, a block building, extremely hot. I'm in gym shorts and flip flops, and or sandals, and I'm painting this place, right? So I'm covered in paint and sweat. And one of my good friends comes in, and he had one of his good friends with him. These two men are very big in their faith, wonderful guys. They come into the building, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" And he said, "We're about to go eat, but we were on the way to eat, and we wanted to stop in here and pray over this place for you." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it." So we all stand in here, and we pray over the building, and I told them thank you, and they went about their way. Well, I kind of made that my go-to thing. Every time I walk in this building, I pray over it. I pray for the clients who are gonna call, for the clients who have called, for people on social media, for our supporters, for our trainers, for our families, friends. I just pray. I let it all out in this place, right? And I truly believe that's what made this place what it is today. There's no doubt in my mind. If it wasn't for that, it wouldn't be what it was. But anyway, let's fast forward. So day comes when we're gonna open the doors, and I'm scared to death. I'm like, what if nobody shows up? What if this was all a waste of time? What if I used all the money I had and now we're completely broke? What do I do if this doesn't work? And there's this saying, do you believe in fear over faith? And I was like, you know what? Fear is getting in my brain right now. It's getting in my head. It's going to get the best of me. There's only one way to find out. And if you don't do it, you'll never know. So this is where the motivational thing comes in. And I hope this motivates somebody. If there's anybody out there listening to this that had a dream or has a dream and a goal in mind, chase it. Like, it's never too late. You're never too old, right? You can chase that dream. And you'll never know. It'll always be a what if unless you try it. And it's okay to try it and fail, but it's not okay not to try it, and it's not okay to fail and give up. It's okay to try something and it fail, as long as you learn from that, so that when you come back, you're a little bit stronger, a little bit wiser, and you have some lessons to play off of, right? So chase that dream. I'm telling you right now, you won't regret it. With that being said, we open the door, and it's all been great from there. Stressful at times, don't get me wrong. Running a business is stressful, but man, it's so rewarding. And the most rewarding part is providing something to someone that can change their lives, right? These people who come in with these dogs that are on their last leg, we deal with bite cases where if one more little thing happens, they're going to take that dog and euthanize it. Or you've got, a family that don't understand the dynamics of what they have, and they're on the verge of having to rehome it, or it ending up in a shelter or foster or something like that. I mean, heck, we've helped out a few organizations out there that do fostering. We've worked closely with some of them and been able to change dogs. We've had dogs come in who from these foster agencies who say, "Hey, this client needs help," and you're kind of the last resort. Talk about pressure, right? But you're kind of the last resort, and if it works out and everything goes well, then they plan on going back with the dog and keeping the dog. And we've been able to help with that kind of stuff. And I say we because now I'm going to talk about where we're at now. Now, from where we started, we're in 2026, beginning of 2026 now. So from 2019 to now, we have 5 total trainers. There's me plus 4 others, and it's absolutely amazing. We can never be what we are without them, and we can never be what we are without you guys. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for every listener, every supporter, every social media supporter, every client that we've had, even people who's picked up the phone and called us, but just maybe couldn't afford training or something like that at that time. At least you thought enough of us to give us a call and have a conversation. That means the world to us. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that. So that's kind of the backstory of Canine Justice. I don't want to ramble on forever. My ADHD will kick in, and I'll have y'all on something totally different. We'll be talking about cruising in the Bahamas or wherever else. So again, that's where we got started. That's kind of who we are and what we are. We do plan to grow just a little bit more for the opportunity to be more personable with our clients. More one-on-ones, more group class type things, just getting out in the dog community and building relationships. So that's kind of the next goal. As far as dog training goes, we've almost got every avenue of dog training covered. There's not much that we can't do. If there's ever a dog that comes in we can't do anything with, that's probably going to be something neurologically off with that dog, and that's not something that we can fix or we can train out of a dog, right? That's more like managing. But anyway, guys, appreciate you listening. This was an episode about me, Wes, and the backstory of how Canine Justice got started. Again, I'm going to ask you guys, if you've got any questions or comments that you want to leave, feel free to shoot them to us. You can shoot it to us. I believe I know on Spotify you can leave a comment. I'm not sure about the other podcast stuff. We're still kind of new to this, the other platforms. But GA as in Georgia, K9 Justice at gmail.com. You could always email us with any questions or any topics that you want us to talk about. We're going to try to bring you a variety of different things over the course of doing these podcasts. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you listening to me ramble on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Where Sick Gets Real.